Welcome to Los Lobos. I am here with me is don't freak out, English peoples. We're gonna be in English and SAP, so it's cool. But yes, this is another. We are here to talk about CMLL, the January 10th Viernes Espectacular. But before we go ahead, I do just want to send a shout out, bendiciones, say good vibes out to those out in California that are affected by the wildfires. If you are affected by the wildfires and you're watching us, please allow us to take your mind off of it and give you a little bit of wholesome entertainment. Also if there's anything bothering you or whatnot, please join us and come chill with us and let us entertain you. So with that, what do you say, Jefe? Shall we get into it?
Let's do this.
All right, very good. A shout out to Papa Oso, who couldn't be here. So next week, Papa Oso. All right, so we are talking about the January 10th Spectacular, but before we start, the January Viernes Espectaculares are apparently VIP Viernes Espectaculares. And I was wondering what that meant, and I looked it up, and apparently we are still new fans to CMLL, and we are learning. Apparently, for the month of January, the Viernes Espectaculares, which are CMLL's biggest show of the week, they actually take the best matches of 2024, and all of the matches on the card are the part twos of those matches, I guess you can call them. They are all matches that happened last year that were really good, that the fans voted for, and they wanted to see again. And that is how we get this card. And starting off with this January 10th Viernes Espectacular, we have a Relevo Astral, best 2 out of 3 falls, where we have the Rudo team of Crixus, Vegas, and Crixus is your captain, against the Technical team of Capitan Suicida, Futuro, and Max Star. Capitan Suicida is your technical captain. In this match, we did see the Rudos come out with the win. The second fall went to the Technicals, and the third fall went to the Rudos. So, but we saw some great wrestling. This was a really good opener. What do you think?
So, I will be a broken record when I say this every single week, but the opening match definitely sets the tone of what the rest of the show is going to look like. And looking at the 6 individuals that were involved in this, I immediately knew that we were going to be in for a great time. We're constantly seeing Max Star and Futuro, and now we're seeing Capitan as part of this here. And this has been getting a lot of love the last couple of weeks too. So it's been really fun. Vegas, we see from time to time. And concept is newer to me. But I thought this was a fantastic match. Again, it's really hard to open up each week because the opening match tends to be what kicks off the show. It gets all the energy going. But unfortunately, most of the time, opening matches tend to kind of be forgot about as we get through the rest of the card. But what CMLL, and especially this match, does very well is that they pick certain moments to kind of highlight in this match that sticks with you.
Yeah.
I am becoming such a huge fan of Crixus. I love him so much.
Yeah, he's a big guy. He's a really big, big guy, but he flies. When he did that coming up off the runway and then jumping and taking in a double clothesline, taking out Capitan Suicida and Max Star, that was impressive. Man's got hop. And then in our first pinfall,
absolutely.
In our second pinfall, we saw a really fun Max Star and were able to pull off. But yeah, it was just at the end, Crixus I feel like he was the star of this bout. He was also in the Grand, which went through all December, which is a tournament I didn't even know about until it popped up. So, but yep. So your Rudo team of Crixus, Vegas, and Cancerbero, they come up with the win. Our second match was a match. This was a bit of an oddity because this match Relampago had 2 Técnicos going at it, where we saw El Audaz against. So he did get the pin at the 7-minute 51-second mark. But wow, was this just like hitting all the combos on the pad, Matt? What do you think, Heavy?
I 100% agree with you. And we kind of bring about a match is that there's only 10, y'all got 10 minutes. So you need to figure out what you're doing, how you're getting there. You got to be more precise, and you just got to move at a breakneck speed. I feel like someone put in video games, and especially wrestling ones, I feel like someone's like special meter filled up all the way, like multiple times throughout this match.
Yeah.
And they kept spamming the special moves, and it still wasn't enough. And so they had to keep fighting to get there. But cranked up to 10. I don't want to say push because we get a lot of talent being utilized in CMLL. Legendario has been making a lot more frequent appearances here on, and I've been enjoying myself. Like, again, he is a bigger dude, but spamming all the combos and defying every law of physics and gravity known to man at parts of this was wild match. Like, this was fantastic. I enjoyed myself with this one.
Yeah, and I believe won the torneo alternativa that happened in December. I have to double check that, but yeah, we've been seeing him a lot. But yeah, this was a great match, even though it lasted close to 8 minutes. It was just, like I said, it was buckle in, baby, for 8 minutes, because these kept it going, kept it flying. So, but yep, Legendario does get your win, which brings us to our next match, which sees fan favorite Cranio and the tag team of El Tasma of Zandekan Jr. and the versus Ano and Neon. Neon is your Capitan for the technical side. Zandekan Jr. is your Capitan for Rudo side. Again, Ano, best 2 out of 3 pinfalls. In this, we did have the technicals come out with the win. The first fall went to, and the third fall went to the technicals. But this was a really fun match. Like, there was some very
in this match. That's a singles matchup I want to happen. And speaking of Esfinge, like, again, big man doing crazy things. Also, man has been busy the last week or so. We have been seeing him everywhere. I thought this was great. I had such a great time. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't take too many notes during this match because I was just enthralled with all of the match and everybody involved with it. And no, that's my barometer of, hey, you know what? This is a fantastic match. So I'm not going to be, I didn't end up taking a lot of notes, but this was great. I loved, our team of Neon, Esfinge, and Volcano picking up the victory. Loved it. Fantastic match. I need to see a rematch, especially between Esfinge and Junior.
Yep. Really quick, I want to send a shout out to so this match, number one, Cranio and Volcano are both just super entertaining, right? They're big guys, and they know that they're there to be entertaining, and they do it, and it's great. I love that when he comes out and he does his dancing. That was really fun. The first, the two things I do want to point out is, number one, the second pinfall that the Rulos got, where they lined up, and then they had Cranio plancha off the top turnbuckle, and then Zandekan Jr. came and sat on Cranio on top of Zandekan Jr., and they pinned all 3 technicos at the same time. That was just a lot of fun. And then also the ending of this match was great in that the Rudos got counted out after each technical kind of like did their finisher. You had Esfinge, he did his off the top rope. Neon, he decides to defy gravity and do that thing where he launches himself off the ramp from one side of the turnbuckle to the other, and then does a moonsault on top of him. And then Volcano comes in and does a plancha on top of the 3 Rudos, and that keeps him out for the count. So, it was a lot of fun, a lot of entertaining for me. I think this was my match of the night. So again, your technicals, they come out with a very fun win in this match. And this brings us to our Amazona match of the night, where we see Lluvia and La Jarochita, who are last versus in Dark Last. This was a best 2 out of 3. So your winners are the Ruda team of Zoxys and Dark Silueta. The first pinfall did go to the Rudas. Second pinfall went to the Technicas. And third pinfall does go to the Rudas. And congratulations to Zoxys and Dark Silueta for winning the Dante just last week. So, which we're going to be talking about that later. Yeah, this was a great match. Both these teams work really well together. Apparently, La Jarochita is back from injury and was Julia's original tag team partner, and you could see that because they had some great communication and great movement. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think anytime we get Amazonas action, I'm always here for it. Will's not here, so Papa, the women, the Amazonas wrestling like twice as fold. I was wondering, and this was something that kind of was in the back of my mind, you know, as somebody who reviews other promotions here as well and seen other people who've been in CMLL since we started watching now going to those companies. I was a little worried for Juvia and what we were going to do with her. You know, she was a tag team champ and then she wasn't. And so that was all happening and things like that. But I am super happy that they decided to continue to have her on screen. And now that she is, tagged back with her original partner in La Jarochita, I love them. I love matching aesthetics. They are fantastic. But come on now. Is Zeuxis? It's Zeuxis. Do I need to say more? Like, between her and Persephone, for me personally, those are the two Amazonas at the top of my list. And they are both fantastic. She is showing up on Viernes Espectacular. She's getting a lot more of these tag team matches, being able to showcase her stuff. And her and Zeuxis make a very dangerous team. I love them so much. It's just, oh my goodness, between both of them, they could lift a whole semi-truck if they really wanted to, hyperbole speaking. But damn, man, all four women brought it. I love this match. This is a fantastic bout.
Yeah, my favorite part of this bout was the third fall, because that was where we got a lot of the near fall pins, and it just kept going back and forth, and it really had me like wondering, all right, who's going to pull this one out? You know, so it was very hard fought, a great Amazona match, and this was our semi main event match. Our next match of the night, She's and Dark Shield are your winners for this match, and this brings us to our main event. And I forgot to mention at the beginning that this past weekend, I should say, the CMLL talent had a very busy weekend, because we did see a lot of the CMLL lucha that you saw on this show tonight. The next night, we're up in Dallas, Texas for the MLW show. This is one of the individuals that was Blue Panther. He wrestled a match with, I believe, his son, Dark Panther, against Atlantis and Atlantis Jr., but that was the Saturday match. This is tonight. We saw Blue Panther in a mano a mano against Hechicero, and wow, this was a slobber knocker. You know, Hechicero putting on all of, like, showing why he's the alchemist of the ring, you know, and then Blue Panther just like powering through, and, you know, and showing that, like, that the wisdom that he had, that he brings to the ring, and just, you know, his power and his ability to soak up the damage, because, you know, Hechicero put some moves on him. And Blue Panther's been in this business for over 40 years, you know, and he still didn't shy away from, you know, from flying, from getting turned into a pretzel, from rolling around with Etchy. So, you know, this was a great main event. This wasn't a best 2 out of 3 fall. Our first fall did go to Hechicero, who submitted. Blue Panther wins the second fall by having Hechicero submit, and then the third fall does go to Hechicero, who pins Blue Panther after a slobber knockout of a third fall. What do you think, Jefe?
So first and foremost, you mentioned that Blue Panther was super busy this weekend, which is definitely true. Well, because Mans was in San Jose, California, going up against Zack Sabre Jr. at New Japan's Battle in the Valley. And
that's right.
It seems might be getting one more between Zack and Hechicero. You mentioned that Hechicero is definitely the alchemist of CMLL, and I concur with that. And taking it a step further, the alchemist, because he is able to make magic out of nothing is not the correct word, but he pulls these magical moments out of the air where he always surprises me in everything that he does and comes up with new and inventive ways. And like, even with the things I the way to spin it and twist it on its head a little bit, he's ever evolving, ever changing. He's got a bag of tricks. But Blue Panther has that pedigree, and he has that, you know, like these two in the ring together, magic is made. And I enjoy every single match like I do every Viernes Espectacular. But for me personally, just because of how magical it felt for me to watch these two, the sponge of CMLL, if you will, always finding new ways to do things. This was personally my match of the night. I enjoyed this. This was fantastic. And I definitely want a rematch down the line between these two.
Yeah, that would be really, really cool. This match it really had like an old school feel to it. It was awesome. One thing of note, Blue Panther did get special permission to wear his Blue Panther mask for the match. Blue Panther had lost his mask, I believe, in 2008. And as we have seen, when luchadors, when they lose their masks, they are not allowed to don that mask again. They have to go without it. But Blue Panther did get special permission for this match, wrestle with his Blue Panther mask. And we have to say, oh, you're missed. Yep, we know that you like it. Stay tuned though, Papa also, because I got a treat for you a little later. The other thing too I wanted to point out is Blue Panther. The reason why I had brought up the Blue Panther just like took it all and just kept coming. He went for a tope suicide and he face planted into the top rope and like fell awkwardly on the outside of the ring. And I thought that they were going to call the match, but Blue Panther popped right up and kept at it. And as a matter of fact, he ended up hitting, I believe, a plancha or something like that on the other side of the ring on Hechicero. Just that ring wisdom of all the years, being a lucha. And okay, this didn't work out, so I'm going to reset and do this. That is a sign of a great performer, and I really appreciate that. So this was it. This was your Viernes VIP for January 10th. I was going to say 10 January, but for January 10th. So if you like what we're doing, we are the BC Wrestle Pod. We do have shows for WWE. We have shows for AEW. If you like, we have watch-alongs. So if you like what you do, please find us on the interwebs. You can find us on all the social medias, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, Twitch, that other social media platform, Blue Sky. We're there. We also have merch, so you can check that out. bcwrestlepod.creatorspring.com. And also, we have a Patreon, BC WrestlePod. So if you want to support us, that's another way that you can support us. But just having a great thing. So we thank you for being here with us. So this brings us into the second half of the show because this Viernes Espectacular was kind of short. So one of the things that you'll notice is that we pretty much just cover the Viernes Espectacular, but that doesn't mean that that is the only show that CMLL puts on throughout the week. CMLL actually puts on 6 shows throughout the week. The Viernes Espectacular, of course, is the biggest show. Sometimes it also acts as CMLL's, which we saw for like the 91st anniversary show, for a lot of the tournaments. That is the biggest show. But there are other shows that CMLL does put on. You can actually find them all on their YouTube channel. I believe some of them are free like the day after they air. So if you do want to see some of the CMLL goodness, please check out the CMLL YouTube channel. So it pretty much breaks down from the different arenas that they perform at. The first arena they perform at is the Arena in Mexico, which is in Mexico City. That is the cathedral, like de Lucha Libre. That's the big one where they do have the Viernes Espectacular. They also have a Sunday show there, and then they also have their Tuesday. Martes is from Arena Mexico, and then on Saturdays and Tuesdays you have the Guadalajara show, which we affectionately refer to it as, in Guadalajara. Martes is the Martes de, which we thoroughly enjoy. Papa also loves it. The cool thing about all these different shows is that the arenas are all set up different ways. So the fan interaction is all sorts of different. We've said it before, and I'll say it, but the fan interaction is like the 11th, the third person in the ring, or the 11th man, because the fans in the arenas really do make the show. Efe, what do you think?
So there have been a couple of times where I have watched the Guadalajara shows and I thoroughly have enjoyed them. It just feels so different. It feels, how do I put this without sounding really bad? It feels like kind of like a live taped backyard house show, if that makes any sense, where it's a little bit more grain ground, if you will. And I feel like that it works to its advantage. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it for sure. The Guadalajara shows are very, very fun.
Yeah. And also Papa he loves the Guadalajara shows. They are very crazy. I call me crazy, but sometimes at Guadalajara, I think they have like a band up in the stands, or some people bring musical instruments and they start playing them. Because I know they also have like the spinners that. But yeah, they're definitely a fun. It's definitely a fun show. But like I said, check out CMLL on YouTube. A lot of these shows they will put on for free once they have done their initial airing. So the other thing I wanted to do on this episode, because it is 2025 and this is our second show of the year, when you watch the shows, you will see a lot of people come out with a lot of belts. And I finally was just like, okay, I need to get a list of all the champions and the championships that CMLL has. And boy, howdy, are there a bunch of them. So we're going to go over, as of the recording of this episode, what the championship is, who has the championship, and a little chit chat going forward. So these are your campeonatos de CMLL, or your champions of CMLL. So the first one is the CMLL World Heavyweight Champion, Gran Guerrero. Following that is the CMLL World Light Heavyweight Champion, Averno. I picked this picture for you there, Papo. So your CMLL World Middleweight Champion is Templario, showing his guns. And your CMLL World Micro Estrella champion is who he just got the belt just the other week through some, shadiness, but he's your champ. Your tag team champions are the Hermanos Chavez, Roja, and your trios champions are Los. So how do you feel having a trios division that's actually like alive and kicking?
Not you throwing shade. I'm just kidding. I love it. I'm messy, so we're good to talk about the throwing shit, being messy. That's what we do here at BC Wrestle Pod. No, but in all seriousness, like, trios championships are really hard to do, as we have seen in many iterations in our Western counterparts currently. But what I love about CMLL is that each of the championships is treated right. Multiple people to be on a card, regardless of what show they're on. And they actually have storylines for the trios where people are fighting. So, like, listen, other companies, take notes. Trios championships are important, and it shows that you have to be able to work with your two other partners in order for you to succeed. And I love that these three are current champions because they are fantastic.
Yeah. So then moving on, your CMLL World Women's Champion is the CMLL World Women's Tag Team Championship is vacant again. And can I tell you how much of a pain in the ass it was to figure this out? Because
story time.
What happened last week, and Dark Silueta, they did win the Occidente Women's Championship, which is a regional belt for the Guadalajara arena, right? Yes, CMLL has regional belts, not just only belts for the company, but they have regional belts as well. As if we needed to make it any more convoluted. But anyway, when I looked it up on all the English news channels, it kept saying that Zoxys and Dark Silueta had won the CMLL World's Women's Tag Team Championship, but that was incorrect. So the CMLL World's Women's Tag Team Championship was actually held last year by Zoxys and one Stephanie Becker. Stephanie went to WWE, so the Women's Tag Team Championship became vacant. They had a tournament for it. Juvia and Tessa Blanchard, they ended up winning the Women's Tag Team Championship. And just last month, Tessa Blanchard left for TNA. So the CMLL World Women's Tag Team Championship is vacant yet again.
Crazy.
We looked, and if you have the 411 over me, throw it in the comments, but I could not find. CMLL does intend to have some sort of tournament or something like that to fill this vacant championship. However, they have not announced anything as of yet, which kind of makes sense because we're just coming off the holidays and it's busy enough as it is. So, but yeah, CMLL World Women's Tag Team Championship is currently vacant. Your NWA World Historic Middleweight Champion. So really quick, the NWA back in 1948, CMLL, which at the time was known as EMLL, partnered up with NWA. And I'm making this really short. I might make a little video about the history of CMLL later on, which is a little bit longer. But so EMLL and NWA had a partnership, and the NWA belts were fought under CMLL. Fast forward to the 90s, where EMLL changes to CMLL, and they break away from NWA, and NWA kind of like fizzles, but in like weird wrangling, CMLL is able to retain the NWA belts, so they fight for them still on CMLL. And that is your super fast CMLL NWA history. Like I said, I might make a video later outlining the actual history between the two companies. But at any rate, is your NWA World Historic Welterweight Champion. There is a CMLL Japan belt. Unaka holds it. And I just had to throw this in because she is Persephone is your CMLL Women's Universal title holder for, Persephone. So, that's it. Hey, did you have any, what'd you think about that quick run through of the champion?
Honestly, I think it's important, especially if people are looking to get into CML and need the 411, but either can't or don't have the time to look in all of this. So you did a really good job. And I would love to see that video whenever you get inspiration to do so about the history of CMLL, because I only know a little bit about it and I would love to hear more. But yeah, I think it's important for any company to establish who holds the belts and what they're used for. And I did not know that the titles that Flip and, them are holding were from previous iteration relation. Like, it's a whole thing. It's crazy. Yep. But it's Lucha Libre and it's telenovela. So it's like, you know what? Weirdly enough, this makes a lot of sense to me.
Yep. And I also do have to say that there are actually more belts. Each arena does have its own regional belts.
Oh my God, there's so many.
Right. But I made the conscious decision to leave those off the list and just kind of include the ones that are defended on the Viernes Espectacular, the show that you'd see most people walking through the door on the Friday shows. Having said that, the other thing with CMLL is not only are there championships that they fight for, but they have tournaments all throughout the year, for the universal belts, for the international tournament. They have all these other things that they wrestle for. So it's not just people gunning after belt. It's a whole lot of wrestling goodness that you should definitely check out. So that is our show this Friday. Este viernes coming up. We have another very spectacular VIP edition. Again, these are matches from 2024 that people voted for that they wanted to see a redo again. So we have some really good ones. We have Neon, Máscara Dorada, Místico versus Volador Jr. and Los Hermanos Chavez. We have Euphoria and Valiente versus, and if we remember anything from last year, is how hot those four. I expect some masks to get ripped in that match. So if you can, check it out. And that brings us to the end of our show. You got any parting words there?
No. Well, I mean, I do a little bit, but I won't take too long. First and foremost, if you are not watching CMLL, what are you doing? No, just kidding. No, seriously, though. When we decided to cover CMLL towards the midway of 2024, I was like, you know what? I know nothing about this, so this is going to be fun. And it has been one of the highlights every single week to get to watch. And CMLL always ends up delivering on a lot of the shows. Very little disappoints me with all the in-ring action. They are fantastic. It is so good. And yeah, y'all need to, if you can, definitely watch, follow CMLL on YouTube, watch the shows if you can afford to. I definitely recommend getting a subscription to them so you can see all their shows live when they happen, so you don't have to wait too long for them to air. But yeah, I definitely say go for it. And then also a little bit of some flowers, if you will. Shout out to El Buntador here for holding down the CMLL review. He is now fully in charge, so he is doing a fantastic job. And you are doing so good, my friend. I'm loving the way that you're running this show. It's fantastic.
Final words from Papa also. Templario will be the father of my children.
I would love to see how that would work. Y'all would make some cute babies.
Adorable. All right, so that's it. Thank you for tuning in, and hopefully we will catch you next week. So until next week, remember that you're biconic, I'm biconic, we're all biconic. You all deserve to finish your story And yeah, one more I got to say.
You had a thing.
I had a thing.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's gonna happen next time? Well, you're gonna have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.